CCTV has global coverage of the tensions in Vietnam and the South China Sea. Yin Hung will join us in just a moment from Beijing. He has reaction from the Foreign Ministry. But first, we begin with Nathan King here in Washington. And Nathan, the United States stepped into the fray actually on Thursday.
That's right, Elaine. The situation was top of the agenda as the chief of China's People's Liberation Army met in Washington with the chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff. The five-day visit began cordially enough with General Fang touring a U.S. naval carrier, but it's ending in a strong defense of Chinese actions, and not one you hear in Washington very often. Events in Vietnam to some extent overshadowing this long-planned visit. While this visit is aimed at strengthening understanding and trust between the U.S. and China's military, as events escalate in Vietnam, General Fang at the Pentagon put China's case to the U.S. and the world's media.
China is conducting the exploitation activity within the 12 nautical miles of the Zhongjian Island, which is part of the Xisha Islands, and this is a activity conducted within our territorial water.
The People's Liberation Army Chief of Staff also made the point that other nations have drilled wells in the South China Sea before, but China has not. He also argues that as the U.S. has rebalanced towards Asia, U.S. allies such as Japan and the Philippines have become emboldened.
The fact is our neighboring countries some of our neighboring countries did try to use this opportunity of the rebalancing strategy of the United States, did something that we believe we're not supposed to do, and stir up some of the problems which actually make the South China Sea and East China Sea not so calm as before.
And while General Fang spoke for more than 30 minutes, his U.S. counterpart said little, only that China should recognize that these are disputes that need to be settled.
We talked about the fact that we have to acknowledge that there are disputes, territorial disputes, that are in play here.
As the U.S. and Chinese military agreed this week to more joint training and the setup of a secure video conference line between the two, the U.S. has become involved in this week's tensions between China and Vietnam. The U.S. State Department has called China's action provocative and accuses Beijing of trying to change the status quo in the South China Sea.
The U.S. does not have this formal defense relationship with Vietnam. And so it will be more difficult for the United States to do anything in that respect, though. But certainly more communication between the two will help.
General Fang reiterated that the China-U.S. relationship will hold the key to peace and prosperity in the 21st century, but should be based on mutual respect. And then when it comes to matters of national sovereignty and territory, China, quote, cannot afford to lose an inch. It is worth noting and emphasizing that both the U.S. and China here in Washington today stressed the desire for peace and stability in the region. And General Fang said several times that there was no war in the region, unlike in other areas of the world. But it is clear that despite the push at all levels to increase cooperation and understanding between the U.S. and Chinese institutions, there are still fundamental differences, even whether to talk about the issue of sovereignty at all, Elaine.
All right, Nathan King, stay with us for just a few minutes. We'll bring you back for a larger discussion.